All right, ladies, I said I would do a video on talking about how to use your scissors to cut stuff. I know it seems a little bit odd that we'd be talking about this. A lot of you have been scrapbooking for a long time. When we used to do a lot of paper piecing, we talked a lot about how to cut them out and make it look smooth. So I'm just going to do a quick little walkthrough with one of P13's 12 by 12 papers that would need to be cut out. So I've got this one. I've got some really pretty flowers and birds and things and leaves. And first thing is I always cut out my pieces smaller because I don't want to be handling the whole 12 by 12 sheet. So I always quickly cut them out. And then from there, I start with my cutting. All right, so the biggest thing is how you use your scissors. You shouldn't be doing like this because when you do, that always shows where you kind of start and stop. Using your scissors is almost like peeling potatoes. So when you have a small cut like this, definitely a straight line. But when I do around here, I'm going to try to do it pretty much all in one piece. So instead of using or moving my scissors, I move my paper. So I'm going very slow just to kind of show you. And since I'm leaving it all in one piece, it gives it a really flawless kind of cut. Most of the time too, I try to cut a little bit on the inside of the color. Nowadays, I'm sorry about the camera moving. That was Bax. He's flopping down. He knows Grandma's talking and he doesn't like it. So nowadays when we ink and stuff, it really covers all this up. So if you have a little bit of white or whatever left over, no big deal. But I've always tried to cut on the edge of my scissors. So I'm just going to get rid of that one. Now with this one, it has very specific like points. So when I see something like that, again, it's one cut. And then I go inside and I just nip it on the edges. And I keep doing that because you're just making these little nips. Since it's kind of jagged, it's not round. You know, you don't want those to be round. And then I can move it. I would end there and start again. So it's all about using your scissors and not doing like a cutting motion like you're used to, but moving that paper and manipulating it so that you have a nice flow, a very soft looking cut and not a jagged one. Every time, let me get a little bit bigger piece. Every time you do that where I'm using my scissors, it's going to show a really harsh edge. But if I hold my scissors and I try to do one long cut, then it's a little bit more flowy than if you're going like this. I guess that's the best way to kind of describe it. So let's just finish cutting this out. I'll do a couple more with you just so you guys kind of get the idea. Now this is a really small piece, so turning it, I don't want to rip the paper. So now I'm going to go in the opposite way and just pluck that little piece out. And then start again, because it is really getting pretty delicate. That's about a 1/60 of an inch that I'm cutting right there, okay? So there's that piece there. Let's grab another one. How about we do something like this, a little bit different, because there will be some stopping and some starting with this one. So if I have a flower like this that has the edges, you know, like the little V marks, I actually just use that. So I'm going to start wherever you want to start. And again. And then from here, I'm going to start on the opposite side and then connect it and take out that chunk. And then I'll start again, peeling my potato, going in. And I'll start from the other side. Perfect. Small pieces, I just cut them off. But see how little work my actual scissors are doing? What's doing all the work is me moving that piece of paper. And stuff like this too, like that little notch. A lot of times when I'm cutting things like this, I just like, if I look at them like, it's too small, it's a detail that I'm not worried about, I just cut it off. And that is it. So that one is done. This one's done. We've got some leaves here that are really nice. And this definitely is all going to be one piece on one side. And then I end it, start again, because a leaf has a nice point. And there we go. I've been cutting out stuff for a long time. I actually enjoy just sitting around watching TV, cutting a few things out here and there. So, but I will tell you, this P13, it is a new company for us, and they actually just started making ephemeras. So all these pieces on their newer lines are actually going to be all cut out for you. So we won't have to be doing as much work as we're doing right now. But their paper embellishments that they make, I love them so much. I'm not afraid to put the time in and do some extra work. And you shouldn't be either. Now, with something like this small, cutting on the inside of the green, I can't go too far. And then for the rest of the flower, I'll do that notching on one side and then the other. I hope I'm getting all this in the camera. Oops, there we go. I might have to redo this one. So all your cutting can be done in one kind of motion with your scissors, just by slowly closing them and moving the paper around. And it doesn't need to be exactly perfect, again, because you will be inking the edges of this. And as long as, you know, the branch is not straight, so you don't do a straight cut, you're okay. Now for some of these, I'd get an X-Acto knife out if I want to get inside here. Depends on my layout. If the background paper has a lot of white in it, I probably won't worry about it. But if it doesn't, and that'll be really noticeable, I would probably cut it out with an X-Acto knife. Or a swivel blade. Everybody knows I like to use the Coluzzo blade to cut stuff out, but only if it's necessary. So I had nice long pieces that I'm cutting. And then this is where I would come back and I would do the V's. And that's a little bit more round. And I don't normally use the little nose of my scissors until I get in tight. So if you're at home and you're cutting with your kitchen shears, those really big shears, that is not going to work for what we do. Okay, and actually I lost that petal, so I actually cut into it, it looked like, because I was using too much of my scissors. But again, I'll just save the piece, and when I go to glue it down, I'll ink it like I'm inking the rest of it, and I'll put it back together, because even right now you can't see that it's gone. So no big deal. So there's the few pieces, and that's my trick. Is it's like peeling a potato and moving the paper, trying to get your longest cuts out. And then from there, I would ink these, pop dot some, and group them together to make something quite lovely. Thanks, ladies.